Hello. Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I'm trying to condense 3 years of early stage startup experience into 10, 15 minutes, right? So let me start. I think the more interesting bits, they come at the end. Like you can see the first 2 years, 2.5 years, they are interesting, but you don't want to do the same mistakes as we did. Bit about me, I do weird things in the gym. I love cats. I'm married. I worked at these companies for some time in the past. And that's where I work now. I started working at 8fit in August, September 2015. Back then we were like 13 people, something like that. What we do is we build an app that tries to help people get into shape, or like more ambitiously said, trying to make them feel better about themselves. So we give you a customized approach to workouts and meal plans. And you can download it on iOS and Android. Quick check, does anybody have that app installed? Of course. Yeah, no, maybe? Okay, cool. Yeah, our main market is the US. I think right now we surpassed the 20 million registered users mark. We are around 88 fitters in the Berlin office. We don't have any other offices, so we all operate in Berlin, and the app is distributed worldwide. It's available in a couple of languages: Italian, German, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese, French. And these pictures actually represent real people, and that's footage that we shot, and we guided these two folks through like 3 months of transformation, and that's what they transformed into. And I think after that, they, like this guy, if you see him on Instagram, he became a micro influencer or something. Right. So that is our scale, and I removed some excesses on purpose. Yeah, so we grew pretty crazy throughout these 3 years. All right. And the analysts and scientists and people that are able to read graphs, they see some patterns in that graph. I'm not one of those, but that's okay, I believe. Cool. So let's go back to August 2015. That's roughly the org structure that I joined, and that's basically how I will continue this talk. We have two co-founders, right? One is the CEO who runs the marketing department, the marketing group of people, the product group of people. The CTO basically does mobile, web, and backend. And I try to color code these bubbles so you understand that basically everybody does everything as it's normal in an early stage startup. The orange one is me. I think that's the one that you can follow throughout time. And the also other interesting one is the green one, or yellow, with the F. The letters are just like the first name, the first letters of the names of the people that I can remember that were there. Right. So that's August. So what's then sometime, I think in November, I tried to recover this knowledge yesterday. So sometime in November, there is a CMO joining, takes over marketing. Great. CEO can focus more on product. Still same setup in the CTO land, in engineering, right? So what is, and that is November, and that is Q4. And so this company was founded, I didn't say that, was founded in 2014 by like two guys traveling around building something. And they noticed something in Q4 2014 already, that like their sales, they dropped. So it seems like that's a seasonality effect. Like people are just not into fitness in Q4. That's great for us as a fitness and health app company, because we can spend that time doing some stuff that we couldn't do in the 3 quarters before. So that's what we do. We start asking more questions around how, like, how much money did we spend in the ad campaigns? How many sales did we do? Can we calculate ROI? Can we segment? Can we slice and dice the data by country, by gender, by device types, by version, whatever you can think of? So there's a bunch of questions that arise. And so far, this guy, F, answered most of these questions. However, we have this weird setup in the backend that is Rails and Mongo. That's just so not nice to work with. So what happened until that point is then we introduced weird tools like Keen.io, nothing against Keen.io, but people thought that they could solve their questions with using Keen.io. They tried to denormalize counters in database tables and all these weird things. So anyways, what we do is we start this data project. So there's this cloudy thing where nobody knows what's going to happen next. And we found two people doing that. So one of them is me from the engineering perspective, and the other one is F from the business perspective, and mainly marketing and a little bit of product. So we start doing that. There's another guy joining M1 in mobile, which might be interesting later on. So we start doing that, but of course we do all these other things, which is great because we understand the domains that we work in, and we can talk to marketing, talk to product of what they want to find out, also from an engineering point of view. Right, then 2016. I think this was early 2016 when we realized, so this data project seems to be generating value, so let's make it a team, right? Because like this fluffy cloud doesn't make much sense. So we regroup. This guy from mobile walks back into data team, and then suddenly the data team reports to the CEO. Still, we're doing same things in the back end. It's still a small group of people. Right. So what do? We pay some vendor to pull out our data off the backend, put it into Redshift, and we actually start writing SQL. That feels very nice. Turns out that this guy previously was an analyst and actually can write SQL. That's even better, which I didn't know before. So yeah, so we grind through 2016. Again, there is Q4 coming in, and something happens. And that is we need to switch to a different source or a different product that we can use to make people access our SQL queries. Because until that time, in September, I think, we used a free tool called Wagon HQ, which was acquired and gave us 4 weeks to migrate away from this. Of course, we built processes around this because people accessed our queries. They imported it to the Excel sheets and all these kind of things. So we need to switch to Looker. And oh, no, wait. So we did the research and we looked at tools like Looker, Tableau, Mode, Periscope, and decided for Looker. I don't know why. I just felt it's a great product. I'm still happy that we made this decision. So then we migrate everything into Looker, and we realized that, wow, Looker can be an ETL tool. I mean, we didn't realize it back then. We just realized that later, which I'll get to later on. So we start to use this feature called persistent derived tables. The analyst and the marketing folks, they just grind away, write queries, generate more insights. We optimize marketing, and we prepare until the end of the year for the big scale in January 2017, right? Because people feel really shitty about themselves starting the second day of Christmas. And I can tell you, January is the peak day of sales. Because everybody's still drunk, hanging around in their beds, like, oh, I'm too fat, I need to do something. Right, wrong computer. So that's what we do. We scale January, and if you remember the graph, we scaled massively, which is amazing. And what we also do is we hire an analyst. Oh, yeah, we hire a data analyst. That's A1. He joins in February. And A2, I think that's wrong. That should be, oh, right. No, that's still names. I'm confused. So that's an analyst. A1 is an analyst, joins in February. A2 is a data scientist, joins in January, because we thought like, hey, we need a data scientist to do cool stuff. We didn't know what we were doing, right? So the two of us, F and me, we were doing this for the first time. And it was fun, right? And I'm probably going to crush the 15 minutes window. I'll try to hurry up. Right. So we continue doing that. But what this picture shows is suddenly there's no data team anymore, right? So there's analytics and there's data engineering reporting back to the CTO, because at one point in August, I believe, we split up. It's a breakup, right? We divorce. Why? Because there's tension between the reporting and priorities and resources. So marketing wants to have more stuff, product also wants to have more stuff, and somehow we end up in this weird state. So I start reporting to CTO, F starts to report to CEO and like does the analytics stuff, and M1 is still with me. No. Marketing did not disappear, so I'm trying to zoom out a little and then so get close or zoom in depending on how you see it. So we end up in data. Right, so we run through 2017. In February 2017 though, that's a funny story. We are in our offsite in Brazil, like our whole company in Brazil, everything is breaking. Marketing is coming by and like throwing juices at us and all these kind of things, beans and rice and meat, what you can find in Brazil. Good thing is it's still sunny and there's a beach around, but everything is breaking because of the scale of January 2017. Somehow we survived it. I don't know how, until later that year, where we actually find the time, because it's Q4, right? People like, they get fat over the year. So it's Q4. So we find time to refactor things and basically we realized, look, prostituting Looker as an ETL tool using PDTs is not a good idea. Like, don't ever do this. So what do? We take another tool called Matillion. We move out all the SQL queries, put it into Matillion, and then for the first time we actually have a graph and seeing what kind of legacy we've built. And we get timings and metrics and all that stuff into that system, which is great because we need to stabilize everything until the next scale in January 2018. Another thing that happens though, oh, I need to switch here as well. Marketing didn't disappear. No, marketing, we hired a new data analyst, which I call M2. That's great. This guy is really smart. He's also funny, but he reports to the CMO. But he's really good in like generating insights and all these kind of things. So that was 2017. I think we survived that pretty decently. And from next slide on, I will get rid of these M's and A's. I will just try to use the roles so it becomes more oriented towards the future and scaling. So then 2018, boom. What's now? What's up? Data engineering looks pretty decent. We hired a second data engineer, or a third one, depending how you see it. Also really smart cookie. Thanks, Bubble. But so this is still in place, right? The analyst reports to CMO, but suddenly the yellow or green F from the very beginning leaves the company. And the other analyst that we hired in February 2017 also leaves the company. Guess what? Massive knowledge drain. Guess what? No documentation. Guess what? No tests. Guess what? Nobody really understands what is going on. Guess what? We have 2.5 years of legacy of data debt that we need to uncover and refactor. So that's what we decide to do because we had this guy, and they basically like, hey Norm, we really need to refactor, or we really need to rebuild our data warehouse, and we should use star schema because that's what people do. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I tried to read the Kimball book over Christmas. And I read something about star schema back then, and that sounds really nice. So I think you should be doing it. What do you need? So that's what we do. We do this. We continue doing this. Another thing that is on this slide, which is implicit, there's another data scientist. So of course, we hired another data scientist because the first data scientist that we hired wasn't enough. We needed a second one. Debatable decision, but that's how it is, right? So, right, we do this, and I mean, that's just a messy setup. I would love to show you the graph in Matillion, but I don't have a screenshot of it. That's even more messier, although it looks way less complex. Right. So we go to Thailand in February because offsite, right? 4 weeks. This time we're pretty decent with scalability and everything is not breaking. However, what's breaking is people talking to each other. Like data scientists need to answer questions because CEO told them, I want to know why this is happening. Data scientist says, no idea, I have amplitude, that's it. Don't use amplitude. No, you can use it, it's fine. And then comes to us, basically says, I need to go back. So data scientist comes here and is like, hey Norman, I need to have this data. I was like, great, here's a, yeah, go to amplitude, do it. Or what you can also do is write a SQL query because we pump in our amplitude data into Redshift. So there you go. Yeah, but that's not enough. It's like, what do you mean that's not enough? Yeah, so there's talks and tensions and frustrations across the board, and specifically on this top level here, because the data team is not delivering, right? But essentially there is no team anymore. So what are we doing? We revolt, like all the data related people revolt. End of February in Thailand after a couple of drinks on the beach, and then we're like, we need to fix this. We're like, okay, I will start having conversations with a few people that I can try and influence and nudge, but also you should be talking to them. So that's what we do in April. We regroup, we reunite as data team. Yay. We have all the various people at that point in that team, which is data engineering, data analytics, data science, right? That's great. And we still grind away to refactor our data warehouse or rebuild it from scratch. And wait, that's now. Right, and we do this. And we actually managed to get rid of those 2.5 years of legacy within like 4 or 5 months, even with like giving Looker explorers to all the people, educating them on the new ones, unifying names, defining KPIs, rebuilding reports, having a very aggressive, not a very aggressive, a very, very smart marketing lead that tells us, this is wrong, I see 3 different numbers, and we're like, no, this is right because it's more accurate. Like, oh, I do it differently in Excel, and we're like, ah, right? You all know this. So that's the status quo right now. That's what we're talking right now. This picture is a little bit misleading. So right now it's more like, so what did we do after that? We started to put the data scientists into multiple product teams, and the data analyst is working closely to marketing. Notice this weird non-closed circle. And then that's the same guys here. So there's overlap, weird. Data engineering is kind of working along nicely, right? So that's the history lesson. That's where we are right now. So what's next? So this is how I think of data, the evolution, the next step. And I recently discovered this thing called data ops, and I'm curious who of you has heard about it. Can you raise your hands when you heard data ops? Yeah, right. That's cool. So it's still something new. So let me quickly go through this, and then we can go into Q&A after I show you another picture. So how I feel it should evolve. I really do believe in cross-functional teams. I really believe that data ops is more like a huge chapter that combines analytics, science, and data engineering. And I want to put those data connected people or the data related people into specific squads. I don't want to use team anymore, where they bring in the data expertise and they gain domain knowledge from that area where they're working on. And then something magical happens. Hopefully long-lasting team starts to evolve and starts to gel, and they actually can talk to each other and listen to each other, and other people from that team or squad group will pick up some of the data knowledge as well and will ask questions like, why did this user not convert to an install? Why did this user sign up for 3 times? how do we even know that this user signed up for 3 times on the same device? That's so weird. So here are just few examples. Like web, I feel there's a web group in our organization, and somebody needs to train people how to use Looker, how to use, what was it, Indicative, or Tableau, or Excel even. Some people need to be taught how to use Excel. Yeah, that's data ops for me. So that's the manifesto. Should I read it? No, you can read it. It's dataopsmanifesto.org, I think. It's not available on the HTTPS, but I'm in contact with the guy who set it up. Right, so yeah, I just recommend you to read it up on the web. To me, it was mind-blowing because it connected a lot of things that I experienced throughout the years. I think that's it. Sorry. Questions?
Thanks for like a very honest and frank presentation, Norman. It was great. So like it's really interesting to hear your journey. If you could sort of maybe like give like one piece of advice or one learning to somebody that's really like at the beginning of their journey now to like help accelerate, like what would it be?
So one advice is, and sounds so trivial, if you don't make a decision, you're making a decision. And that what I mean with that is you need, whenever you, like when you build a company and you also start working at a company, you always need to think big and think about a vision. And what you specifically need to do is you need to think about your organization. Like designing your organization, like strategically designing your organization, to me becomes the most important thing these days. And a lot of early stage companies don't even think about that, which is natural. But I think they need to, like, that's the main job of the founders at one point.
Thanks for the presentation. Very well structured and insightful. Pertaining to the last slide, I think what you drew there conceptually makes a lot of sense, but it's also hard from just by looking at it to infer any kind of priority, right? And as you mentioned initially in a startup, normally you have to prioritize in order to survive. There are normally people who do more things. So I'd be interested, how do you converge this with the reality, be it either by, I don't know, managerial or organizational setups, or stuff where, for example, with Looker, and I'd be interested to hear what you think potentially about the tool. To me, it's the only tool really that takes away the need for a business, or sorry, for an analyst or data person to know the business context of whatever goes on in marketing, whatever goes on in ops, and which would lead to a huge knowledge drain if that person were to leave the company. Basically, you need to just, you know, provide a very clean data model to the business stakeholders. Yes, no couple of edges in order to do that, but there is no need to get such deeply embedded into the data, if that makes sense as a question. So priorities and reality, right, either with tools or strategy.
Right. So I think I understood the first part of the question, and I tried to answer that. And I think I didn't mention it. So we're at a state right now where we're like 3.5, 4 years, depending on how you calculate it. That's the age of the company. This is coming, like these ideas coming from the bottom, right? I started from the bottom. What needs to happen now is there needs to be a global conversation, and top level management needs to come down, and we need to meet and like shake hands and be like, okay, how does it look like? How will it work in the future? Do we really believe that data is a key thing in our company? And then again, circling back on, I really do believe in cross-functional teams, and I believe that you need to have, like, in order for them to work, this is something I want to figure out if my mental model makes sense or not. I think you need to have the right environment, you need to give them constraints, and you need to give them clear, understandable goals that relate to the business and that also relate to the stuff that they're doing day to day. And you need to make sure that there's clear contracts for communication between teams. That's, I believe, how you could scale an organization and keep that very, very lean momentum from the early days intact, or like rebuild it so that people just rally behind stuff that they're doing. I believe OKRs are a good thing, although it's really hard to do OKRs. We're struggling with this at the moment. It's crazy. Another talk, different meetup. Yeah, that's how I feel. What is like this? That's the framework I would put on top, and then it could be named completely different. It could be broken down into different chapters or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's just the question of how the organization needs to be organized and designed. Sorry. Questions?
Thanks for the talk. So you mentioned that 2 people left in your data team and there was a huge knowledge drain. I wonder how you would ensure in such a setup where like one person in the end is sitting with the with other people. How would you ensure there that if this person leaves, that there's no knowledge lost or that there is replacement or whatever?
Yeah. So what I did not specifically say, I said I didn't say when we introduced Snowplow. We introduced it in December 2017, right? We're Snowplow customers. No, that is a side note. It's a chapter thing. So all of these yellow pieces, they share the same set of processes and tools. And when they basically join the company, they run through an onboarding where they learn all this stuff. They understand how to communicate within that data ops chapter, speak the same language, understand how data flows through the system, how to do data quality, how to write tests in their daily work, and also how to do documentation. And that's something super critical. And I know from a few other companies that was a huge lever for them to like raise the bar. I think Get Your Guide like invested a lot in documenting stuff. And that's what we just started doing. So the tools that we choose and that we use, we also look at those and ask ourselves, like, can they help us in sharing the knowledge? Because every one of those should be replaceable at one point in time. Hopefully not, but.
So would you enforce like Python or R, or is like, I mean, this is like often a discussion. Would you like, do we have one standard, or can an analyst do whatever he wants to do?
That's a very good question. I don't have an answer to that right now. At this point, the standards are Python and SQL. If somebody comes along and says like, dude, I have this amazing idea. I want to increase revenue by 10x, but I need to use Brainfuck or Haskell, I'll be like, okay, teach me. You know?
Thank you.